The Ferris Wheel in Super Mario Sunshine is probably one of the most recognizable things from the game. It's just iconic with how it's always there and huge and blue, and you see it basically in every level you're at. In my opinion, it might even be the most recognizable and iconic thing from the game, aside from obviously like the shine sprites. So what's so scary about it? What's the big deal? Well, that Ferris wheel that you see all the time on normal levels is not the issue. Not even so much when you're at Peanut Park or when it's moving super fast. By the way, that speedrunning trick where you just clip through it, I discovered that myself as a kid and never told anybody. I also found a bunch of things on the cutting room floor that were considered unused but actually weren't, like Mario's tired voice clips. But that's just me randomly rambling about how stupidly into I am exploring these N64 and GameCube games. And it's also off topic, so sorry, I'll move on. But anyway, you know how in the game you always see the other levels like in the background. It's a feature a lot of people thought were really cool. It's a great detail. It looks like you could actually go there. It makes the whole entire world feel super real. Well, you know how the Ferris wheel is always there. And it looks like you actually could get there if you tried and there weren't invisible boundaries. In fact, a recent mod hack, Sunburn, actually allows you to do this. And there's a certain spooky beach cursed hotel level, that messed up GameCube controller, Serena Beach, that I'm thinking of, and how the Ferris wheel looks in there, because it looks much more different than it does in the rest of the game. Now, as a kid playing this, I was fucking stupid, so it actually took me a while to figure out how to get this level. And when I did, I was like, oh, cool, neat. In fact, I actually remember seeing the beach level, like, in the distance from Peanut Park, and I was like, what's that? It's not Gelato Beach. And I also saw it, like, in the game's, like, manual and box art, and I was like, what is this? Is this, like, a beta shit they left in? But no, I was just being dumb and couldn't find it. Anyway, I found it, and I was like, oh, okay, cool, neat, whatever. Nothing really bothered me from it. And then I remember at one point I turned around, looked at the background, and I recall my stomach kind of dropping, seeing the Ferris wheel there. And while it might not look too bad here, I remember as a kid it being much bigger and like shadowy and kind of like imposing. And also just like feeling way too close, like way more close than like any of the background levels that you ordinarily see. In fact, I think it might kind of be like a continuity error, because from what I call, Serena Beach looks much further away once you're at Peanut Park than it does over here. And it was always kind of unnerving and like unreal to see the level that close. It's probably really hard and weird to describe why it bothered me, and it makes sense because of all of the weird nightmare fuel stuff I've seen people like tell about from their childhoods. I've never seen anybody bring up this or be bothered by it. And I should probably tell that I was a really weird kid, like bothered by the weirdest shit. Like, you know, everything in Super Mario 64, like Ocarina of Time, that people were scared of, never bothered me. Nothing in Courage the Cowardly Dog ever bothered me as a kid. Not even like actual horror stuff like Resident Evil like really bothered me as a kid. No, you wanna know what I was scared of when I was like 2 years old, before Mario Sunshine even came out? I was scared of the fucking Cocoa Puffs bird. And I don't know, maybe it's because of the Bugs Life bird, I'm not sure. But the thing in Super Mario 64 that scared me at that age was fucking Mario's head popping up at the title screen, so yeah. But everything else is perfectly fine. Then the GameCube rolled around, and there was just something about it where stuff kind of creeped me out a bit more. Maybe it's because I got like more like aware at that age, but also just like not all knowledgeable still. That awkward childhood years. And as well as things looking a bit more realistic, but like uncannily so, like it was nowhere near as like cartoony and bouncy as like N64 graphics, and it didn't try to look super realistic like PS2 or even the PS1. or like have the same feel as those cartoony games, the more cartoony games that were on the PlayStation titles. But I mean, the bright colors are still there, and I really love how GameCube games still look today. But I don't know, I guess there's just something about like Super Mario Sunshine and Smash Bros. Melee, specifically those two games, that bothered me a lot. And a lot of people have actually talked about Melee bothering them as a kid. And I know there's like different discussion videos that you can look on that, so I don't get too off topic. But I also just recall like Gen 6 games in general. Like I would always want to like be at levels that were like more populated, because it would kind of like bother me to feel like alone and kind of like dystopian in those games. Like just a bad negative chill down my spine. And I still kind of get that feeling today when I look back at them. Like in Melee, I always used to do like 1-ed and 4-side because it was like in the middle of a town. There's people and such and warm. But that's kind of like side rambling again. Sorry for all that. But just the idea behind like all that background info I've given you, like the idea of like wondering what would happen if I touched that level and what would go on, especially since like system errors really scared me at that point. And like it's like I'm not supposed to touch that, right? And it just is this a giant shadow looming over me. It's like, what will happen if I get there? Will the game crash? Will it yell at me? Will I be at this cursed version of Peanut Park? Like, I know it sounds stupid as fuck, but I don't know, just try to look at it and picture it from the idea of some feeble little tiny pale kid staring at this and picturing that it's much more silhouetted and giant and close. I recently did go back and play it before starting this video. In fact, it was like the true start of this video, so here's live footage of me going back and playing it. Well, there it is, that windmill that would curse me as a stupid child. And by the way, those like lines that you see going down like through the screen aren't actually seen through my angle when I'm recording this. And to clarify, this is the GameCube version, not like the poorly emulated new version on Switch that EA Junior has released recently. Sorry for the naughty name, but they've just been really disappointing me for this past year, but that's not the point of this topic, and it's probably pretty obvious that it's not on Switch if you can tell by the CRT TV. I've got two setups. I've got one with like a current modern widescreen TV that I use newer consoles on, but it doesn't have component cable support, so I just use this old CRT TV for them, and it's actually still comes in really good, much better than how it looks on here, and it plays great. But anyway, to stop rambling on, this is what used to really bother me as a kid. It actually looks different from what I remember. I just remember it being like much more silhouetted and like much bigger. But like there was just always something that kind of like took me off guard when I would turn around this level and just see this shit. And I'm playing with one hand, by the way, and holding my phone with the other, because that's all what I use to make these dumb videos. I haven't had a PC in years, and it's really frustrating because I want mods and artwork and stuff. But yeah, it just always seemed like way too close to me, again, especially how I remember seeing it as a kid. And like, I just always wonder, like, what the fuck would happen if I swam over there? It's so big and intimidating and horrifying, and I'm trying to dive there because you can kind of break the barriers a bit by doing that. And he's doing it, so it pushes you back too once you get too close and go into first person. It's really interesting. But yeah, that's my stupid live ramble for the video. Like, I was just always afraid to touch this, like it would break the game or something, or bring me to like a level or like a fake version of Piano Park, which is probably what it really is from like a literal standpoint, where it's like, yeah, it is Piano Park, but like it's not really. It's like Purgatory Piano Park, like Glitch City Piano Park, Ghost Town. But I don't know, back to the stupid video, or the end of it, depending on when this goes on it. So some interesting things that I also found out, like in the process of doing this, came from the cutting room floor. And in there, they had some images of the Ferris wheel and how it looks like in the background. And here it is, the Ferris wheel in Serrano Beach, and there is like an almost fake ghost town piano park there that's cursed and glitchy. And looking at the Ferris wheel here, it's actually is kind of scary in a stupid way, but that's kind of just me of just how broken and wrong and off it looks and dark. And on a side note, there's some other interesting things, like the Ferris wheel apparently spins in the background of every level, except for Delfino Plaza, probably because of just how far away it is, so you don't really notice it. But also, it's the reason behind that is that it's not a separate object, but part of the level geometry. And it's a bit broken, and here's a picture of that too. But yeah, the Ferris wheel, all in all, isn't so bad, even though there's some dark backsides behind it. But it is still a pretty iconic and weird set piece, because, I mean, there's everything I talked about in this video, that clipping through it glitch. The fact that it's spinning faster in chapter 3 or episode 3, but then it isn't in 4, and then again in 5, kind of implies that they forgot something or that they were originally supposed to be switched around. And also, that shit's red in the back ending. Like in the beta, you see that, right? Everybody has. This game was hilariously rushed. In fact, I feel like a lot of GameCube games were, but they all end up being the best ones and are still amazing somehow today. Those are beautiful accidents. But anyway, that's my stupid, horrible return video. There's going to be some more straightforward stuff coming up, and eventually that iceberg. But yeah, maybe just let me know if you've had any experiences like this or other stupid things in games that scared you as a child.